Wesley Earl Craven was born on August 2nd, 1939. This master maker of horror films grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, under trying circumstances as a child, yet managed to earn a master's degree in writing and philosophy from Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, as well as carve for himself a distinguished career in the motion picture industry. Craven has repeatedly demonstrated that he is a filmmaker with heart, guts, humor, and an unbridled imagination. The director of such films as The Serpent and the Rainbow, Swamp Thing, Nightmare on Elm Street, Vampire in Brooklyn, Scream and its two sequels, as well as the 1999 release of Music of the Heart, starring Meryl Streep, have placed Wes Craven on the A-list of Hollywood directors.
Early in my life, my father died, and before that he left the family, so there was that whole sort of uproar of Dad leaving, and I think the arguments before I have vague memories of, and then about a year later, he had a heart attack at work and died. So he was buried on my 4th birthday. So those first early 5 years had a lot of disruption, and then for the first time we had to move, and thereafter was a series of different houses, different locations, because of the fact that my mother's income went down. I've had this one peculiarity to my upbringing that I probably should mention, is that just before my father died, my mother, I think during the time of their troubles in their marriage, they were invited to a church and became converted to fundamentalist Christianity, to a Baptist church. And it's very hard to mention it in sort of the general milieu of American thought without people thinking of it as something odd or extreme. But going back to what I said about everything seeming normal if you have nothing to compare it to, that was our church, and that was very much a second family. So there was, in a sense, about that church a remarkable sense of stability and shelter. That was the positive side of it. The negative side, as far as being a filmmaker, is that they did not believe in movies, with the exception of Walt Disney films, which were consistently, kind of safe. Hollywood and its product was considered to be kind of the work of the devil, literally. So we simply did not go to movies. So my early influences were not filmic. They were, I think I discovered the library very quickly. And so what I really grew up on was novels and stories, with the single exception of my kind of surrogate father. There was a family, the Biltons, which was, Dorothy Bilton was one of my mother's closest friends. When my father died, Dorothy invited me into their household during the day when my mother was working, and until my mother came back from work at night. And one of Eddie's big hobbies was 8mm photography. And also he would rent a movie from the local camera shop, which was a custom in those days. And I was completely enthralled by film. Cut to, many, many years later when I was teaching college, students who really were more, I think, aware of how films could be made than I was, came to me and said, we'd like to start a film club. And so I said, fine. So, and they said, we have a couple movies we're going to shoot, and so they had written a Mission Impossible takeoff. And I became sort of their advisor cameraman. We made it and spliced it together on a projector, using a projector as an editing machine. Knew nothing about the technical side of film, really. We made the cost of our film, which I think was $300, back about 10 times. We made about $3 grand. And at the end of that year, my department chairman came to me and he said, it's time for you to get serious. You're not working on your PhD. You haven't published anything. And you're running around with this stupid camera, acting like an idiot. It's time you became a serious humanities professor. And I quit.